Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel and back to my daily challenge mini series. Today's daily challenge is a general challenge and it is to cook seasoned exotic bird. Now, I'm sure most of you know, but if you didn't, you can get exotic bird meat from skinning pelicans, and seasoned just means you're going to use thyme, oregano, or mint, which can be found everywhere on the map. One of the pelican locations I'm going to show today actually has all three of them nearby, particularly mint, which is usually found near water. Oregano is probably the most prevalent, and thyme's the one that sometimes I have to look for a little bit. You'll come across it as you're riding around. If you do, just make sure you always have some in your supply for easy daily challenges like this. So today I just want to give you a couple really good pelican locations so you can easily get some pelicans to get that exotic bird meat. Let's get into it. Location number 1 is the best location in my opinion, and the only one that you should need as long as they spawn there for you, and that is what we have all dubbed Pelican Island. This is the small island right outside Quaker's Cove, and there's usually a ton of pelicans hanging out on that little island. Obviously, the tricky part is that water is all around, so you have to try to just kill as many as you can while they're just sitting on the island, because as soon as they start flying, more than likely they're going to fly over the water and you're not going to be able to get them. I would say I generally get about 2 to 4 each time I go there. With everything else, if you go to Pelican Island and there are none on the island, it could be that somebody's already been nearby or they just haven't spawned in for some reason. Try riding away and coming back or loading into a new session, because this really is a great location. There's also a pelican that will sit on the docks in there right in Quaker's Cove. I find this one a little bit tricky to get just because a lot of times if you shoot it, it will fall into the water. And again, once the bird is in the water, if it's too deep, you can't pick it up or retrieve it at all. And so it's kind of just a lost opportunity there. So number 1, Pelican Island. Highly recommend you check this spot out if you have not heard of it before. Location number 2 is going to be in the Bluewater Marsh area. You can fast travel to either Le Gras or to Van Horn and ride down. Now, there are several different static spawn points where the pelican will be on the ground, and there is also an overhead spawn near the R in water from Bluewater Marsh. So just check that area out. I've got a couple spots here you can see where there are static spawns. The pelican will be on the ground. It was in one of the locations. If you go a little further out to like the tip of the peninsula where there's that broken down building there's a lot of mint around. If you're collecting, there's an alcohol bottle there a lot of times. That's another static spawn for a pelican. There wasn't a pelican there today. There was actually a ton of birds in Bluewater today, so there were pretty much everything. All the cranes, the herons, the spoonbills were there. It was like a really good spawn day. So unfortunately, the pelican just didn't spawn there, but it did spawn in the one location. There's also, if you go further down the coast towards Saint Denis, there's also a couple other static spawns near the water there, and one coming right out of Saint Denis. So just check that area out. At one point, I point to some birds in there. You see some herons flying overhead. That's also where you sometimes will see upwards of 10, 15 pelicans flying through there as well. Pelicans make a pretty distinct sound. So if you haven't heard it before, when you start looking for these pelicans and you're starting to get a couple of them, pay attention to the way they sound, because that's going to help indicate when they're flying overhead, and you can kind of just look up from there. Location number 3 is going to be near Braithwaite Manor. I normally set a waypoint for just south of Braithwaite Manor on the coast, and then I'll just slowly ride the coastline up until I see them. There's a couple different spots they'll spawn, everywhere from just south of Braithwaite to north of Braithwaite, usually sitting on the banks there or by the logs. So just go nice and slow, because again, if you barrel in, it's a bird, it's going to spook, and then if it flies over the water, you won't be able to get it. So use your binoculars or your gun to just scout out along the coast as you're riding, and I almost always find one along the coast here. You can see this location I put where the exact spawn was for this particular pelican. Location number 4 is the coast from Van Horn up to just north of Annesburg. Again, this is another one that has several different spawn points. Once you start to do this, you'll get to know exactly where to go. I just go to Van Horn and ride the coastline up. I show you the location of the pelican that I got here, which is between Van Horn and Annesburg, but there are also pelicans in Annesburg, particularly sitting on the posts right there off the dock, and even a little bit north of Annesburg as well. So this is another good location if you're just striking out in the other ones and you want to try. I would recommend traveling to Van Horn and then just go slowly up that coast toward Annesburg to try to locate a pelican. And of course, to finish up the daily challenge, you just want to make sure that you go to a campfire. You're going to go down to exotic bird meat, select either oregano, thyme, or mint. You're only going to need to cook one. Go ahead and cook it, stow it, or eat it, and you have accomplished the daily challenge. I hope you found this video informative or helpful in some way. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave it a like. If you have any questions, I'll leave a comment below, or if you have a really good pelican location. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.